problems, or how shall I say, issues that faces HCD. Because if you look at your guide, you see the arc of the conference, where we sort of designed how the 3 days will flow. So day one was really around networking and welcome. Day two was setting the agenda, where we took stock, and we had everyone who sets the policy, those we hire, those we train, really, very nicely articulating what the issues were. And then we had the dinner, the awards ceremony in the evening, where we recognize those who have really exemplified themselves in the space in the last 1 year. So far, it's looked very, very good and according to plan. And then this morning, we started off at 8 a.m. with a facility tour of the Petroleum Training Institute, which, for everybody that knows, is almost like the premier institute at that time that really was responsible for all the things that we've been discussing over the last 2 days. So it was just befitting and well worth it for us to go and see what they have and how we as Ogtan could partner with them to really, have that role that they need to play in the solution. So today really about solving the problem. What are the proposed solutions that all of us collectively want to bring to the fore. So my job here now is just to recap formally what happened and then set the stage for today. But before I do that, I'd like to encourage everyone. So yesterday we had a lot of dignitaries, and when you have dignitaries, you've got to reserve front rows, second rows, and things like that for them. And now we're all dignitaries, all of us in the room. So I'd like to encourage everybody to please move down so that we can take our rightful places as the real dignitaries of this conference. So please, I want to start to feel from the first row. If we can please have everyone move down. And then if you have a colleague that is still outside, please signal to them that they need to come. Please move down. Thank you. There's a gentleman in white at the back. In fact, there are two gentlemen in white. Please move down. Thank you. Exco, please come down. Thank you. All the very way down. Let's take our places in the front row of the conversation, or where we lay out the solutions. So the key points from day two, if you recall, I highlighted them and enumerated them yesterday, but I'm just going to summarize very briefly. The first one that we noted is that the industry is changing rapidly. Gas, AI, digitization, new technology, and the energy transition are all emerging, and they're emerging very rapidly. So the industry is evolving, and it's very important that we evolve with it. The skills we need tomorrow may not be the same skills we have today. So as we're all still sort of trying to catch up with what we're doing today, we've got to really keep our eye on tomorrow. The issue is not simply how many people we train anymore. A lot of conversation around that came up yesterday. It's whether we are training the right people with the right skills to the right standards for deployment. Are they able to use... So the input is training, the output is competence. I think that was said very, very well yesterday. We also heard the concern about the technical skills gap and the need for stronger alignment between trainers and the people who ultimately employ the workforce. We heard the important question of who pays for human capital development and how we make HCD an investment to Nigeria's productivity. And then today we'll be looking at practical steps towards filling the gaps we pointed out yesterday, solving the problems we identified, and having a commitment for the future. We will look at the future workforce and what the decade of gas digitization, decarbonization means for skill development. We will examine the role of funding, standards, certification, and we'll have an honest conversation about whether operators are doing enough to support human capital development and indigenous training providers. And more importantly, we will bring these conversations together into a Ogtan HCD manifesto, which is a commitment to what operators, regulators, and trainers will deliver for today's workforce over the next decade. And by the end of today, we should not only have identified what needs to change, but we should be clear about what each part of the industry is prepared to do differently. And to help us do this today, it is my distinguished and distinct honor to welcome and announce the presence of the Honorable Minister of Gas, Honorable Minister of Petroleum for Gas, who is here represented by one of his very senior directors from the ministry. And we have the Honorable Commissioner for Oil and Gas for Delta States. He's also here with us. He was here with us yesterday. He's also here with us today. Thank you very much, sirs. Welcome. We have the... I'm so sorry. We have His Excellency, the Governor of Delta States, who is here ably represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Oil and Gas, Honorable Ovie Jitubo. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Thank you. And we have here present the Ogtan National Executives, led by our president, Mr. Chris. I think I've heard a lot of people refer to him as Sir Chris. I think I'll join that bandwagon, Sir Chris Osarowense. And our Vice President, Engineer Steve Osoha. And we have other EXCO members who are here. Coach Daniel, who is the head, the chair of our Lagos chapter. Mr. Joe Odua, who is the head of our Port Harcourt Ogtan. And there are many other EXCO members who are here and are making their way to this session. The representative of the Honorable Minister, unfortunately, I wasn't able to say his name properly when I recognized him. I'm very sorry about that, but his name is Mr. Ogidipe Ayuago. I apologize in advance for welcome, sir. Thank you. We also have here with us, and again, I would like to really thank them very warmly, representatives from our sponsor companies. You will see that we have about 36 sponsors in different categories, and I would just like to, again, name them and recognize them. Sorry. I don't want to miss anyone out. Starting at the top is PTI. PTI is our host and our strategic partner. They're here represented, and I'd like to thank them very much for their hospitality and for their sponsorship of this conference. Our headline sponsors, Well Services Training Academy, NUPRC, and NMPC. They are headline sponsors. Thank you very much to them. Thank you. In the platinum category, we have ND Western, Clean Nigeria Response, and First EMP. Please, a round of applause for them. In the gold category, I'd like to thank Jake Riley, PM for Success, Nexus, NCDMB, OilServe, and Western Diamond Energy Limited. Thank you very much. Please, if there are representatives of these companies in the room, I'd like to thank you very much and please encourage you to take your space in the sponsors area that we had reserved for you. Then we have Etovic Associates Limited and RCL Oil and Gas. Thank you very much. Gabson Laser Engineering in the silver category. Additionally, in the silver category, we have ETC, we have Hobach International, we have Hybrid Group that's made up of DGM, we have Greenfields Consultancy and Associates Limited, we have Language and Skills Limited, and we have Aradel Holdings. So thank you very much to all our silver sponsors and category sponsors. Again, we in the same category as PTI, they're partner, albeit PTI is a strategic partner. We have other partners such as PETAN and the Women in Energy Network. Thank you very much for partnering with us. And again, I'd like to reiterate our headline sponsors, Well Services Training Academy, NUPRC, and NMPC. Thank you very much for sponsoring us. And without further ado, I would like to declare this event, this day 3, open. But I think it's important that we take the national anthem before we can formally declare it open. So please, can we have the national anthem?
In brotherhood we stand, Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, we now come to today. What is going to happen today? Today, as I said, we'll be looking at practical steps to fill the gaps that were pointed out yesterday, solving the problems we identified, and having that commitment for the future. And so, we're going to invite the Honorable Minister of State for Gas. He will give his keynote speech where he's talking about, yesterday we heard from Honorable Minister of State for Oil. Today we will hear from the Honorable Minister of State for Gas. So he will talk about what the decade of gas is about and the implications for HCD. Then we go into securing the future, the PTDF human capital model. A lot of people, even me, I kept thinking PTDF was a regulator, but they're not really. They're financing. Essentially, they will tell us what they've done and what they intend to do to secure the future of the workforce. And then we go into things like digitization and decarbonization. We talk about standards. In Ogtan, one thing that we're very passionate about is the quality of what we do. So we would speak about some of the solutions that we've already put in place and how we can ramp those up. And then we will showcase the training capacity that we have, utilizing our companies at the zones to highlight what capacity Ogtan members have. And then at lunchtime, we will again do like what we did yesterday. We will do a VIP tour of the exhibition booths. So if you have a booth, please make sure that it's properly manned. And for those that don't have a booth, I'll encourage you to join that VIP tour and go with us to hear about, if you're a trainer, what competition is doing. If you're an E&P company or a customer, come and see who can help to meet the training gaps that you have. Come here with. So we'll do that at lunchtime. And then right after lunch, we'll talk about our operators doing enough. How Nigerian trainers, what really want to hold the industry to account. Then we talk about money, who's going to pay, how are we going to fund it. And then at the end, like I said, we'll have the manifesto that all the partners, all the critical partners will then sign to say this is how we're going to work this, so that by the time we come back next year, we'll be able to report on how far we've gone. And then we'll end, with elements of the closing report, and we would have come to the end of what I think has or will be a very successful event. We would appear to have lost time because right now, it's 11 and we should have finished this phase at 9:10. But as I said, we thought it was very important that we catch up with the facility tour that we were not able to do yesterday. So we started that at 8. And also we would try to gain time, as we did also yesterday. We managed to help you finish and come to the awards dinner on time. So we will aim to do the same thing today. So I really hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference, and I look forward to seeing you as the day progresses, during breaks, during the exhibition tour, and at the end when we're signing the manifesto. So thank you, everyone, and good morning.
Round of applause for the Chairman, Conference Planning Committee, Mrs. Fumi Ogboe. Your Excellency, Executive Governor of Delta State, ably represented here by Honorable Chief Peter Uviejitobo, Honorable Commissioner for Oil and Gas, Delta State. All of the protocols duly observed. Permit me to use this medium first to recognize the presence of the representative of His Excellency, Executive Governor of Delta State, Right Honorable Sheriff Oboriwori, ably represented here by Honorable Commissioner. Please, a round of applause for him. We sincerely like to apologize. We would have done this earlier, but it's never late than now. We need to welcome the presence of God Almighty here. And so to this end, I'd like to crave indulgence as we'll be upstanding to take the opening prayers. And I'd like to invite my brother here to please lead us in opening prayer.
Well, I'm sure we have Christians and Muslims and different sects here. So I would say, Father, we thank you for today. We say, guide us, bless us, and may your will be done in our lives. In Jesus' name.
very much. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Delta State, ably represented here by the Honorable Commissioner for Oil and Gas, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria holds over 210 trillion cubic feet of gas reserves. The question now is, what does the decade of gas demand of our workforce? Representing the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Gas, Right Honorable Obong Ekperikpe Ekpo, please welcome Ogidikpe Ayauge, Technical Advisor to the Director of Gas, Ministry of Petroleum Resources.
Thank you, MC. Please permit me to align myself with already established protocols. Let me begin by conveying the apologies of my principal, the Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources Gas. He would have loved to be here in person, but due to other very urgent engagement, he's not here. However, he has mandated me to deliver his keynote address. That being said, let me go straight to the keynote. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to address you all at this Oil and Gas Trainers Association of Nigeria, Ogtan, Human Capacity Development Conference 2026. I bring warm greetings from the Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Right Honorable Ekperikpe Ekpo, PhD, whom I have the honor to represent at this auspicious gathering. Let me commend Ogtan for its sustained commitment to professional excellence and human capacity development across Nigeria's oil and gas industry. Through its focus on competence, standards, continuous learning, Ogtan continues to play important roles in developing the skilled workforce required to sustain the growth and competitiveness of our petroleum sector. The theme of this conference, which is empowering people, driving performance, shaping the future of oil and gas, is both timely and compelling. It aligns with the federal government's determination under the leadership of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to reposition Nigeria's energy sector as a catalyst for industrialization, investment, job creation, and sustainable economic growth. More importantly, the theme reinforces a fundamental truth, which is the future of our energy industry will be determined not only by the resources beneath our soil, but by the quality, competence, and ingenuity of our people. Nigeria is richly endowed with oil and gas resources, including one of Africa's largest natural gas endowment and enormous opportunities across the petroleum value chain. But resources alone do not create prosperity. No refinery operates efficiently without skilled engineers and technicians. No gas processing facility succeeds without competent operators. No pipeline remains safe without trained personnel. And no investment delivers sustainable value without capable regulators, commercial experts, project managers, researchers, and innovators. Simply put, it is people who transform natural resources into national prosperity. Therefore, if Nigeria is to achieve greater investment, improve productivity, enhance energy security, and sustainable economic growth, we must invest deliberately in the knowledge, competence, and capabilities of our people. The declaration of year 2021 to year 2030 as Nigeria's decade of gas represents much more than a policy initiative. It is a national development strategy that recognizes natural gas as a critical enabler of Nigeria's industrial and economic transformation. Our ambition is to deepen domestic gas utilization, improve power generation, expand cleaner cooking and transportation fuels, stimulate gas-based industries, create jobs, enhance energy access, and strengthen Nigeria's position in regional and global energy markets. However, infrastructure alone cannot deliver this ambition. As we expand gas processing facilities, pipelines, LNG projects, CNG infrastructure, LPG distribution networks, petrochemical facilities, and other gas-based industry, we must simultaneously develop the people who will design, finance, construct, operate, and maintain these assets. Infrastructure creates opportunity, but human capacity converts opportunity into sustainable value. Human capacity development must therefore remain at the center of the decade of gas and Nigeria's broader energy transformation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the global energy landscape is evolving at unprecedented speed. Artificial intelligence is transforming exploration and decision-making. Automation is redefining operations. Digital twins and data analytics are improving asset performance. Cybersecurity has become fundamental to critical energy infrastructure, while carbon management, emission reduction, and cleaner technologies increasingly influence investment decisions and market access. The skills that brought us this far will not by themselves take us into the future. Our workforce must therefore be equipped not only with traditional technical competencies, but also with capabilities in artificial intelligence, digital technologies, data analytics, automation, cybersecurity, gas commercialization, carbon and emission management, project finance, contract negotiations, energy economics, and strategic leadership. Equally important are critical thinking, communication, teamwork, integrity, adaptability, and creativity. In a rapidly changing global industry, the competitive advantage will belong to individuals, organizations, and nations that can learn, adapt, and innovate faster. This brings us to an important question. How do we translate training into measurable performance? Human capacity development must never be regarded as merely a compliance requirement or an annual organizational activity. It must be treated as a strategic investment in productivity, safety, innovation, and competitiveness. The true measure of training is not the number of courses attended or certificate issued. It is the measurable improvement in competence, productivity, safety, operational efficiency, innovation, and organizational performance. We must therefore move from training for training's sake to training for performance and measurable impact. This requires capacity development that is demand-driven, competency-based, technology-enabled, and closely aligned with current and emerging industry needs. Nigeria has made significant progress in developing indigenous capacity through the implementation of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act, that's the NOGIC Act 2010. In this regard, I wish to particularly acknowledge the important work of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, in promoting indigenous participation, skills development, technology transfer, and the growth of Nigerian capacity across the oil and gas industry. Through its Nigerian content mandate and various human capacity development interventions, the NCDMB has contributed significantly to creating opportunities for Nigerians to acquire the technical, professional, and entrepreneurial competencies required to participate meaningfully in increasingly complex and diverse oil and gas industry. Today, Nigerian professionals and indigenous companies certification, research and innovation, technology transfer, apprenticeship, and graduate development program, as well as the establishment of globally competitive centers of excellence. But our ambition must go beyond developing professionals who can meet Nigeria's domestic requirement. We must develop Nigerian professionals whose competence is respected and sought after in the industry. In conclusion, therefore, the future of Nigeria's oil and gas industry will not be determined solely by how much oil we produce or how much gas we process. It will increasingly be determined by what our people know, what they can do, how effectively they innovate, and how prepared they are to compete in a rapidly changing energy landscape. As we advance the decade of gas and position Nigeria as a leading gas-powered economy, let us place human capacity development at the heart of our policies, investment, and strategic decisions. Government, industry, academia, and professional organizations such as Ogtan must work together to build a workforce that is competent, innovative, adaptable, productive, and globally competitive. On behalf of the Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Gas, I commend Ogtan for convening this important conference and for his continued contribution to the development of Nigeria's oil and gas industry. May the conversations at this conference go beyond identifying challenges to producing practical solutions, stronger partnership, measurable outcomes for our industry and our nation. Together, let us empower our people, drive performance, and shape a prosperous future for Nigeria's oil and gas industry. Thank you for your kind attention, and God bless us all.
A round of applause for the representative of the Honorable Minister. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, we'd like to welcome you to day 3, the final day of the 3-day program. We will like to respectfully invite His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Delta State,